So we'll notice that the time allocation between AI software and regular software projects is completely inverted, with most of the time spent in discovery. And the main reason this is the case is because AI software is non-deterministic, right? Given the same inputs, you don't get the same outputs every single time. So it takes, so there's a lot more work involved to mitigate that. Some of the work that you can expect to do in discovery that elongates the timeline, evaluation, right? There are many different technologies and models that you can use. So testing which one is the best for your client's use case can take some time. Benchmarking. Benchmarking is critical, where you list out all the types of inputs you expect to give to the system and the criteria for the expected outputs. Benchmarking is important for two reasons. First, it provides you a way to show how you're improving the software over time. If you start off with the software answering 50 out of 100 benchmark questions correctly, a few weeks later it answers 80 out of them correctly, you can say that it's improved, the performance has improved. It's also important because it actually affects the design of the software as well, because different types of inputs necessitate different types of architectures. So in one example, I actually had a client who was in insurance. They run an insurance marketplace of carriers, providers, and brokers. And when we were doing the benchmarking, I noticed that the types of questions they had were actually very different and required different approaches. One type of question they had was, how many insurance providers are there in the state of Texas? And the second type of question they had was, write me an email to negotiate rates with this insurance provider. The first question about how many insurance providers there are is a counting question. So it requires a text to SQL approach, where you convert the question to a SQL query and then execute that for the most accurate results. But if you're asking the LLM to generate an email, that's just natural language generation. So it's two different types of inputs, create two different approaches. So that's critical to sort out during benchmarking. Data preparations, also a significant amount of time. These AI projects are almost like data engineering and data science projects. So scraping the data, cleansing it, and normalizing it can take a lot of time. And lastly, testing, just making sure the inputs, just making sure everything performs correctly during the, in the playground environments before you build it out. If you can't get it working in the playground environment, it's definitely not going to work when you start building it out. So that's critical.